You know what? Let's go ahead and ask that question, right? Because we talked about the LSU job. We talked about the Florida job. There's a number of jobs out there, and top of the hot board that I've seen for LSU, Lane Kiffin. Top of the hot board that I saw for the University of Florida, Lane Kiffin. When LSU made the decision to fire Brian Kelly, I'm pretty sure the administration down there in Gainesville was looking like Cuba Gooding Jr. in Boys in the Hood, punching the air, right? They had to be upset in their feelings because they know LSU is going to be a better draw to a Lane Kiffin than Florida will. And I don't think that's very controversial. But really, you just said it, Punk. So let's just have that quick conversation. Do we think Lane Kiffin is going to leave Ole Miss? And if he's not leaning towards leaving, what do you think it would take to get him to leave?
I don't think he's leaving personally.
I'm not leaving.
I, I think he's in a good place in Ole Miss. It's kind of like what we said about Mark Stoops not too long ago until he started losing a little bit more. He's a king in Kentucky. He's a king in Lexington. If he wants to stay there and still be an 8-win team, he can stay there for the rest of his life and be good. I think Lane Kiffin is doing enough at Ole Miss, especially if they have a really good season this year, make it to the SEC championship game, maybe even win it. What's the point? What more is he going to gain by going to LSU, except if they're just going to throw a huge bag at him? And I feel like Ole Miss is at a point where they're not hurting for money. They may not have LSU money, but if they want to match it, cool. I think they would. I think they can. I think they would, and I think they can. I also don't think that, again, I think the teams aren't going to be out here throwing huge 10, 11, $12 million deals at people anymore. I just don't.
Do you think you can win a natty at Ole Miss?
I don't see it.
And that's kind of what it becomes, right? It's about, do I really want to go win a national championship, which as a competitor and a guy who clearly coaches to a certain level to get the most out of his teams, if you don't believe you can win a natty at Ole Miss, you can't stay, right? You have to go to an LSU, you have to go to a Florida, one of these programs that like, yeah, we can give you the talent, the resources, and the backing you need to win a national championship. Because you got to assume that's what he's about. He was at a Tennessee and left for the USC job. Was there several years, get fired, you clean yourself up. You've now grinded your way back up. You go to Alabama as an OC. You take the FAU job. You parlay that into an Ole Miss job. You're back on that climbing of the ladder trajectory. Are you willing to say, you know what? I'll just stay here at Ole Miss, make the playoff multiple years. They'll build me a statue because literally they've never seen anything as good as me. It's Ole Miss. Or are you willing to roll that dice and go to an LSU or Florida and say, I actually want to compete for national championships?
I think the disparity in college football allows you to win that championship. In all honesty, I think that you might be
Okay.
at LSU, where again, it's not like LSU is this dominant team over and over and over and over again. They're good. They're off 3 years. They're good again. They're off 5 years. They're good again. The
But
only
Yeah,
difference,
but
I
to
think
Unk's
Lane.
point, three of the last four LSU head coaches have won a natty. That says that there's something about the program. Go ahead, Unk.
No, I think also Lane believes in his talent as a coach, where he needs the machine or the engine, such as a LSU or a Florida, to where he could go pay $5 million or whatever the rate is for a quarterback, and I can still get my money, and I have the infrastructure behind me, where it's not as hard to win at Ole Miss. Ole Miss could pay him, but do Ole Miss have money to pay out the roster and still have the facilities like a Florida and an LSU? It's not about paying them. Like we seen Indiana dish out the money, but do you have the rest of the money to get the players and the infrastructure that comes with it? So that's another thing. And I think Lane, he's looking at his next big job, and I don't think it's Ole Miss. He's playing end game right now, and I think to get to the top of the coaching mountain, you're either going to have to go to Florida or LSU. Because
currently, I'm
at
sorry.
that point, Lane could buy whatever player he wants. Lane is already a hell of a recruiter, and he could pretty much. This is the last the Thanos stone for him. Once he gets that, it's over. That's what he's thinking.
So currently, Ole Miss ranks 6th in college sports for NIL collectives. So they're willing to pay the money.
They're spending money on players, yes,
Money can get
but
spent. So again, to me, in this age of college football, where you see, look at some of the top tens right now. It's not names that you're looking at. Indiana's number 2 in the country. BYU was number 10 in the country. There's some other teams up there right now that are top 10. It's like, oh,
But we're talking about staying
my
power.
pick.
We don't know if Indiana's going to stay there for years to come. They're doing good. Like we saw Arizona State, they almost reached the top last year, but where are they now? So go ahead.
No, just how many times this season have we questioned what Alabama is or Georgia is or what Miami was at one point? The staying power for a lot of these teams might just be season by season. You really don't know, right? Like this is a brand new era of college football where it's starting to mirror more of what pro sports is.
But
So
if you're a head coach, you want to align yourself with the best chance of staying, even if you don't know. Like Ole Miss is not the best chance for me to stay a head coach with the climate of college football. My
honestly,
best chance is getting those top jobs still. The Georgias, the Ohio States, Florida, LSU's of the world.
first of all, nobody's Ohio State. I don't know how Ohio State continues to do what they're doing. I think there's Ohio State in everybody.
they've had coaching consistency. They pay
Yeah.
money for recruits. They recruit at a high level, and they also pay money in the portal. That's how.
Let's see it. And again, I say let's kick the can, down the road, at least
Okay.
3-4 years, because I think you're going to start to see where we might not get what Georgia was, a few years ago, going for a three-peat. I don't think that we're ever going to see that again in this era of college football. We might see Bama win this year. Then next year it might be an Ole Miss. Then next year, all of a sudden, LSU figures it out. The next year, maybe Miami figures it out. But I think you're going to see enough teams that stay within that top 10 of being able to have some kind of consistency and be able to get that talent and pay the money for it. And if you're going to pay the money, which Ole Miss can, and you have a good enough coach, which Lane Kiffin is, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ole Miss win a championship in the next 3 years. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
I think we're about to learn a lot about Lane Kiffin, which is very interesting to say for a guy who's been on the national scene for a while. He took that Tennessee job back in 09. Like,
Talking
that's
crazy
a
too.
long time ago. Like, bro, that's a long time ago. It's now 2025. He took that job a long time ago. So he's been a name for a while. And I don't know if we really know who he is just yet, but I think this is about to be one of those crossroad moments in his career that will literally say, what is the rest of your legacy, the rest of your coaching career? If you stay at Ole Miss, your legacy is kind of set in stone. You'll go down as a king there. They might name a building after you. You'll at minimum get a statue just because you've already done things that Ole Miss has never really seen. Or are you like, no, I want my name etched in the record books of some of the greatest coaches ever going to an LSU or Florida and winning one or potentially multiple national championships? We're about to learn a whole lot about Lane Kiffin.